Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to start our first chapter, the cell, its structure and its function. As we all know that there are different types of organisms on this earth and they all are different in their form and in their structure. For example, bacteria, plants and animals, they all are different in their form and in their structure. They, they all have similarity in their basic and their in structure. We know that the bodies of all these organisms are made up of cells. And we know that a cell is a structural, functional, basic and smallest unit of life. How can we say that a cell is a smallest, basic, structural and functional unit? Let's study one by one. We know we need to use a microscope. We need to use a microscope to observe a cell. Therefore, we can say that it is a smallest unit of life. If we talk about basic, if we see a wall, what is the basic unit of wall? Wall is made up of what? Obviously a brick. A brick is the basic unit of wall. By putting bricks one upon the other, huge buildings are formed. In the same way, by the multiplication of the cell, when they come together, a huge structure, or we can say a huge organism, is formed. That's why it is known as a basic unit. We can see a brick wall. It is look like this, and in the same way, a cell is looking the same. Now, if we talk about structure, how we can say that a cell is a structural unit? We know that structure is formed due to a cell. So, in this way, cell is a structural unit of life. And now come to the point function, because cells are capable of performing all the functions like digestion, reproduction, excretion, nutrition, etc. They all are performed by a cell. So we can say that a cell is a basic, structural, smallest and functional unit. Now we will talk about organism. How can we divide organism on the basis of presence of cells? There are of two types, unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Uni means one and multi means many. Cellular means cell. The organism, if we talk about a unicellular organism, organisms are made up of a single cell. Example, bacteria, amoeba, paramecium, as we can say in this picture, Euglena, amoeba, paramecium, they all are unicellular organism. They are made up of only a single cell. And this one cell is only responsible for performing all the types of functions. Example, digestion, movement, respiration. They all are the only single cell is responsible for these all functions. In the same way, we can see that in this picture, humans, bird and animals, they all are made up of many cells. So we can say that these all organisms are multicellular organisms. These functions are essential for survival of the organism. Without these, we can't survive, or the organisms can't survive on this earth. Therefore, the cell as the basic structural as well as the functional unit of all the living organisms. In this chapter, we will study, we seek that there are different types of shape, size, structure and functions of cells of different organisms. Now, come to the discovery of the cell. Who discovered cell? Now we will study the who discovered cell and how he discovered the cell. There was a scientist, Robert Hooke. He saw a slide of coke. In 1665. What is the meaning of coke? The part of a bark of a tree. He made a slide of a bark and observed under a microscope. When he observed the slide, then he saw a certain hexagonal structure. This type of structure, and this is a hexagonal structure. He saw the hexagonal structure, and till that time we should not say cell, because first he observed the structure, and after that he named that structure as a cell. So we can say that this structure as a cell, because cell is a Latin word, and in the meaning of cell is a small room, or we can say a little room. So he named this as a cell, or we can say that it looks like a honeycomb like compartment. We can say in this picture these are like a honeycomb compartments. Compartments are like a small room, so he named that structure as a cell. Later he explained that these cells are a dead cells. Robert Hooke is also known as the father of cytology, because cyto means cell and logy means study. So, the branch of the science which deals with the study of the cell is known as cytology, and Robert Hooke is the father of the cytology because he observed the cell for the very first time. As we have studied earlier, that living organisms are made up of cells. The cells have same basic structure, but they are different with respect to their number, shape and size in different living organisms. Cells exist in various different shapes. First, we see that different types of structures, different types of shapes of cell. As we can see in this picture, this is an irregular type of cell, and we can say that amoeba kind of cell. And this is a pointed. This type of cell has a pointed end at both sides, and this is known as the spindle shaped cell, and this is found in smooth muscle fibers. Or we can see in a book that this is a liver cell, fat cell, smooth muscle cell, as we have seen earlier, and some cells are branched cells, for example a nerve cell. Nerve cell receives and transfer messages and helping to control and coordinate of the cell. Control and coordinate the working of different parts of the body. There are many cells which can change their shape, means they do not have their constant shape, or we can say they keeps on changing their shape. For example, amoeba. Amoeba doesn't have a fixed shape. Amoeba is a single-celled organism which changes its shape accordingly. Let's see how. Let us assume this is a food material and this is an amoeba. And amoeba wants to engulf this food. If you see in step first, food is outside, and in step third, food is inside. How it entered inside? Amoeba has changed its shape in such a way that this food particle gets trapped inside amoeba, and this is how the food is taken in, and this has become possible only because this cell is able to change its shape. Amoeba changes its shape not only for intake of food but also for locomotion, or we can say that for movement. Now come to the cell size. Cells exist in variety of sizes. Size of cell can vary from very small in micrometer till very large, which can be even in centimeters. If we talk about diversity, the smallest could be bacteria. It could be range in 0.1 micron. The name of that smallest cell is PPLO, that means pneumonia like organism, and the other name of PPLO is mycoplasm, and it is about 0.1 micron. If we talk about the largest cell is an ostrich egg. Largest cell is an ostrich egg. It goes up to a meter. It is nearly about 170 in diameter. If we talk about the longest cell also, it is a nerve cell, or we can say that neuron. Nerve cell has another name which is neuron, and it is the longest cell. The difference between largest and longest is that ostrich egg is is largest cell, but nerve cell is long in length. In the next chapter, in the next video, we will study about the parts of a cell. Thank you.